Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of my Dungeon Boss PvP series. It's been a while since I've actually done a legitimate PvP series rather than just my lower account. I wanted to show you guys what I've been up to as far as with my regular PvP, what I've been using as far as my PvP attacks go, and how that's ultimately been going. So, I have two different ones that I'm going to show today. And I'm going to focus one more than the other because I find it to be a really fun and high percentage team for the most part, although both of them are pretty high percentage in my opinion. Now, those of you who spoke to me during my live stream at the beginning of the month, basically I mentioned I do pretty much all of my PvP with one basic team, swapping out one or two people. And I will usually go ahead and pick on whoever's out here. I mean, it looks like all of these are actually pretty low. But a Leadoff Kouros is actually very common, and it's a 3300 rune power, so he's gonna, I mean, some of these are gonna be fairly tough. He might kill Cobalt, but one of my most common teams is the standard Cobalt team plus three others, basically. If it's Kai, I'll use Hopper. If it's not Kai, then I will use Kira. But usually Cobalt, Kira, and then Shadowblade and Shade. Occasionally, depending on what the team is, if Emily or Leo's in there, then I throw Hopper in there as well. But this particular team, I get these guys runed out. Kira, Shade, and Shadowblade rune out very, very well. They pretty much mow through anything, and Cobalt just does his job to die. That's basically all he's good for these days, with the exception of fast-running Babel Mountain and boss mode dungeons. But usually Kira's going to kill him. In this case, he did. Occasionally my Cobalt's been dodging, and it's been annoying. He doesn't have any dodge on him, but he's been dodging, and then he would Kira would kill people like Shadowblade or Hopper sometimes. So usually Kira does enough here to kill somebody. He killed Grogdog, that's all that really mattered, and he killed Kira. So there's absolutely no way you can lose this one now unless those guys go on a dodging binge. And a lot of times, in order to protect myself here, I won't even use my from the shadows. I'll try and go for an epic just to get a possible extra attack. If it was just Kira left, I would have Spirit Link there just to preserve the win. But I will usually mow through most of my dungeons like that, with the exception of if I need to whip out damage reduction or some other alternative team. Most of the time I can use this team pretty much non-stop. Go from my, Warlord 1 all the way up to Legend 1. So that's the first team. If you have the ability to upgrade those heroes, get them as many stars as you can and get them with the best possible runes, that team is going to do really well. And actually the runes on Cobalt don't really matter, but I do put attack on him because Cobalt is one of the few that is able to one-shot Furnace if he does his epic. So the other team, you may have saw it before when I actually clicked off of it, was I've been using a lot of nature lately. And you might wonder why anybody would use all nature in PvP, especially with all the Koros out there. And I'll be honest, I don't use this against Koros teams. That's kind of a death sentence. There is a nitpick out here. I'm not overly concerned about him. The focal point of this team is actually Lily. Now, if you saw my Lily video from a couple weeks ago where she did some solo boss mode, you know that she's runed heavily for damage reduction. So you don't have to pour a lot of attack into her, you just gotta pour something in there. The other key feature for using a nature team, you have to have Ferno, and that's might be a deal breaker for some people. I've mixed it up depending on the team sometimes. Occasionally I'll throw a fast hero in there. Besides Rocky, I like to use Rocky a lot because in addition to lowering the damage with Ferno, if they're dodging everything, it makes for a really great attack. So a lot of times what I do is I will use, I will use Rocky first, and especially against someone like Kai, not really an issue. When they use usually like Lupina or somebody else as their first fast hero, or Zen, for example, you can sometimes get away with a couple of different team members here. But I will usually use Rocky first, and then looking at who we're dealing with here, they have three normal speed heroes. So the big thing is we don't want Ferno to go too soon That's going to be a big one, because if Ferno goes too soon, then Ponty's going to get to unleash his full power. We don't want that. So in this case here, Ferno would have to go last, which basically means we will put in, can't even think of her name, Lily first, and then we will put in, usually I put in Viperia for cleanup, but the order of these guys will vary from time to time. But basically, none of these guys are going to do much damage at all. Even Nitpick isn't going to do much damage. Now, what I'll do sometimes, depending on the team, I will sometimes not use Rocky if I don't feel threatened by the opening salvo. Like if they have Shade and Shadow Blade, sometimes you almost have to use Rocky, because he can, a really good Shade can even power through, sorry, I can't think, the Ferno's debuff. So basically, it's about surviving, and the only thing that I've noticed about this team is Ferno is definitely the weakest a lot of times. Viperia is pretty weak most of the times too, but Shade and Shadowblade really like to target Ferno, and I've had a lot of times where Shade hits him and he gets feared and he sticks around, but as soon as the normal speed round hits, Ferno bolts and then I don't get to use him. If Ferno stays, it's usually a guaranteed win no matter what team I'm going against. So obviously we cannot use this against a Kouros team. Even if Kouros goes before the Ferno turn, it usually does a ton of damage, and it removes the Rocky buff. So you lose that extra turn there. So really the name of the game with this team and why I use it is my damage reduction on Lily is so high that she survives a lot of stuff. It usually takes quite a bit to bring her down. I've taken on some really, really strong teams, and if I haven't beat them, I definitely came very, very close. So once she gets to 8 stacks, I'm usually pretty confident that I'm going to win this one. So we get ourselves some Spore Cloud going on here. And then we just watch the Dodge Fest. So first up, hit Ferno, not a big deal. Throw this out here. That's going to last us several turns. And then the second attack, it really doesn't matter who I go to, because the damage is going to be so far reduced, it's not going to matter. Actually, it still hit pretty good. So, Nitpick did hit 2 people, not a big deal. One of the things that I like about this team, Viperia is basically beast mode. No matter what you do to her, Viperia is pretty awesome. So even with the reduced damage, Viperia still whips some serious ass. So I don't feel bad using this, even drenched and reduced. I just like to, whip it out there. Still killed Igorok, nearly killed Kai, and that was with drenched and the lowered attack. And now we're basically sitting here. I don't see this as being a problem. Did 0 damage on Lily, so I think the sapping vines alone are going to kill both of these guys. And then Nitpick is the least of my concerns, so I'm going to blast the hell out of Ponty here. Down he goes. That is an offensively based Ferno. I've seen people use defensive, likely to keep him alive long enough so that I'm not really sure, to be honest, because even if he dies, the debuff still holds. So the only person that I haven't really worked on this team is I haven't put any time into Rocky at all, which honestly I should probably do that just to keep him around an extra turn or two. Now this team that I'm playing against was obviously not the cream of the crop. This wasn't a 5,000 rune power team, so I wasn't feeling like I was going to lose to this team anyways, so this may be a little bit misleading. So we're going to run a couple more. We have 2 more raids before our tickets run out, so we'll run a couple more nature teams and see what other people we got around here. This one is 2,700. This is a 4,000 rune power. This is a good example of one where we have to shake things up a little bit because of the Emily. Even with the sapping vines and the oxidized sap, we're still looking at trouble here. So we want to, basically we want to put Hopper in there. It doesn't really matter where we put Hopper. We're going to put Hopper first. And then, usually when I see a ton of defense like this, or a ton of fast heroes, not defense, I'll use a more defensive-based team. I do like having Viperia in there for cleanup, but the thing is, with that Chaos Howl, it's likely that Viperia and Ferno might both die, especially if Shadowblade tends to hit one of them. So, being that I know I just have to take out the two of them, what I'll try to do is go with a sort of war of attrition, if you will. And I will put in Ferno. Actually, I don't want Ferno. It doesn't matter where Ferno goes, actually. So then we would go with Lily. And then the third is really what it comes down to. So we could either put in Viperia in there, hope that both of those guys don't get killed. Or what I've been doing, actually, is putting in Nub Nub. Because why not? He's got really high defense, he's got good health, and he's going to heal you pretty much back to full health. So as long as the Chaos Howl plus Kira doesn't wipe me out, we're pretty good. And if we're lucky, Hopper's going to do her thing and she will disease the team. And if that team gets diseased, it's over. Even if it's not a fast victory, once Lily gets a few stacks, it's done with. So the only thing that could really stop this one would be likely if Kira hits Lily with his Dim Mock and prevents her from healing. He would have to get tenacity early on in order to do that. Otherwise, she's going to be at so many stacks already that it's not gonna matter. So there's the disease on Kira, everything that I wanted. So, and even Lupina's going to go down too. Everything looks good. Just the way I like it. So remember, this was a 4,000 rune power. So this was no slouch of a team. I'm guessing that that Kira and that Shadowblade are probably ruined pretty well. Lily is not the Emily is not the problem here. So taking this here and going after Emily would be absolutely foolish. The main person to focus on here is definitely Kira. He's probably going to do a bunch of dodging, so we want to throw everything we can at him. With him gone, I don't fear Shadowblade that much. His shurikens aren't going to be enough to kill my entire team. At least they shouldn't. And then here we come with Nub Nub, and we're going to be right back to full health. So Emily's not going to do anything to this team. Lupina's dead. All we have to do is try and get a couple of pot shots in on Shadowblade, and it's all over. 3-star victory. Nothing they can do. If we had an auto run button, we'd do that now. But he is toast. Actually, it wasn't even a challenge. Probably could have done that one almost without Hopper, but obviously the res would have been a challenge. I could have used Ferno on Emily, and it probably would have killed her. She didn't seem like she was very tough. So we got here. This is a 4,900 one. So this one here is not one that I would use the all nature team. The reason being is with Kouros out here, that it's really a beast. Well, not a beast, he's a monster, but it's a beast of an attack to go against. So not many people are liking the 5,000 rune teams. 4,900, I feel like I can do this one. We just have to play it properly. And what's going to happen is, I'm guessing we have some serious attack. Actually, not really. He's ruined for defense, which is a huge mistake for a furnace, in my opinion. Final Fantasy 85, I love the name. But I feel like you went the wrong route here. Destruction, powerhouse on Astrid, so that's not uncommon. Well, obviously we have to use Hopper here because of Emily. So the goal then is basically kill Astrid, kill Kouros in whatever order, and then survive the other ones. So the route that I'm going to take this, I think, is basically, do I think that Shade and Shadowblade can one-shot those guys 1-2? I don't think Hopper is able to kill one of them. That's the problem. I would normally use Shade and Shadowblade, but I have to have Hopper in there. I don't want Lily in there by herself if I can avoid it, because I would typically like to have a healer for the long, drawn-out fights with Furnace. I feel like Lily can probably handle him, but if she starts burning, then the sapping vines is going to end eventually. So we're going to start out with Hopper first. And then, let's see. Basically, what I'm thinking through here is I'm worried that Astrid is going to be too strong. I'm not worried about Kouros because I'm going after him first, and he's going to die. He's not. He doesn't have anything on here that scares me. So he's going to be one shot by Shade. I'm debating if I want to go with two people on the inside with go with Lily and Nub to keep my heals up, because all I have to do is keep Lily alive for enough turns to let her stacks max out. But if we don't kill Astrid and Kouros, that's the problem. My Hopper's ruined out pretty heavily. I feel like she's going to be able to take on Kouros, so I'm going to gamble with it. And we're going to go Lily. And then we're going to go with Nub. So there's no mistaking here that obviously Kouros is the bad one. We absolutely cannot let Kouros stay alive. Astrid, I feel like I can soak her. Nub can usually take a good hit from Astrid and still survive, even with his mediocre runes. But this first attack is what I'm curious about. Yeah, see, that was what I was worried about. I thought maybe Hopper could take him all the way down. Now, even diseased, I'm not going to risk having any burnout there, so we'll just overkill this guy and call it a day. There we go. Now it's up to Astrid. We'll see what she does. Yeah, still did pretty good damage, even with my damage reduction on Emily. But the thing is, they have no more attacks that round, so I'm healing with the Nub. This one is going to be in my favor, I believe. Because once we throw some Spirit Link out there, it's just a matter of who do I want to Spirit Link? Do I want to Spirit Link Astrid or Emily? That is the real question. I think... Well, let's do this attack first, because we pretty much have to. Yeah, his furnace is toast. We will put the Spirit Link on Emily, because she is tougher. Now she's dead. Yeah, that's basically what it was. I mean, she was going to be the toughest. This is basically auto-run victory at this point. There's no way that he can beat me. It would take an act of God for me to lose this one. Sapping Vines takes things out. And I'm going to use the Soul Devour. I don't know if anybody ever really watches the graphics, but Hopper actually has a cool little effect on here. When she opens her mouth, there's actually a little vortex in there. I just noticed it a couple of weeks ago. I thought it was kind of interesting. Being that I'm not afraid of losing this match here, there's nothing that Emily's going to do here that's going to really tear things up. So watch Hopper's mouth. And there's a little vortex that goes in there. And it didn't do much damage, but I didn't expect it to. Damage reduction. Emily, not a big deal. Lily is going to eat her for lunch. May not look that way just yet, but I promise you, there's no way that this one can end any other way than me dominating. Emily just does not do enough damage. It's 0 damage there, but Hopper's going to do her bite. We'll give a little extra oomph. This damage reflection is no joke either. I've taken out some 5,000 plus rune teams just because this damage reflection comes up. When those guys hit and they get that damage reflection, it is the real deal. Alright, she should be dead with Hopper's next turn because of the extra mark on here. There she goes. So, that was a nice fun one to do. We are right about 20 minutes, so I think we will call it there. So we got a nice little 4-banger. So we saw a little bit of the variation that I use as far as PvP goes. Like I said, that first one with those power teams, Shade, Shadowblade, and then Kira or Hopper. That's pretty much routine. I'll run that for 20-30 raids in a row at night. And then I'll switch it up and I'll use the nature team. Throw in some Rocky, throw in some Viperia and Lily, and sometimes Nub. If they have a Leadoff Shadowblade, I will bring in Krex as well, so that the first attack is a forced taunt. Works really well there as well. But that's a little insight to my PvP. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave them below, and we will address them in the next video. Thanks. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. If you like this video, please show your continued support by hitting that like button, and be sure to check out both my YouTube channels for new content all the time. And always remember, peace is a lie, there's only passion. We'll see you next time.